Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. I'm not going to talk about Dice Town because I just did a review of Dice Town. Go check it out if you'd like. But today, what I'd like to do is talk to you about that bad boy right there. Dice Town, the expansion. Now, if you remember my it's not really old, in my previous review of Dice Town, I told you, at least in the comments, I'd never played this expansion. So, on a recent trip up to Cool Stuff in Orlando, I saw it, had to get it. So I picked it up and I gave it a play last night, and I'd like to give you some of my thoughts about that and show you what actually comes in the expansion and how it changes the game. So let's take a look at it, shall we? Okay, I have the expansion set up with the base game here because I wanted to show you what the expansion gives you and how it looks as it is set up on the board. All right, so first of all, you start the game with $3 in the bank and $2 on the stagecoach, and there's a reason for that. I'll explain it later. You also have a deck of river cards where you can go and pan for gold rather than going to the gold mine, and I'll explain that in just a moment as well. You also get an extra cup and 5 extra dice to incorporate a 6th player into the game. You also get 11 general store cards to add into the original set of general store cards. You also get this deck of outlaw cards, and 2 of them are flipped over at the beginning of the game to note outlaws that are to be hunted down, and I'll explain that in just a few moments. You also get some cards that are called ranch property cards. And they're a new type of property card that is introduced into the game for a difference in scoring. As you can see, if you have 1, you get 1 point. If you have 2, you get 3 points. 3 of them are worth 6 points, 4 are worth 10, and so forth and so on. If you have all 10 of them, you're going to score 55 points. Probably a difficult endeavor. You also have the Native American die, and the Native American die has different abilities that you can enact during the game. I'll get to those, what they are, in just a few moments. And then you also have this dog bad luck card that each player is given. There are 6 of these, one for each player. Basically, until you have won something on each round, you keep this side face up. But once you win one of the different locations, and which means that you cannot then do Doc Bad Luck, you would flip it over and show that Doc Bad Luck is closed for you specifically. This is simply just a card that they incorporated so that you could more easily keep track of who can go to Doc Bad Luck and who cannot. Now, not only does the expansion add more things to the game, it actually adds, or changes rather, how the game is played. If you'll remember from the first base game, there was one person who was able to enact each of these different locations. Now, with the expansion, there are 2 actions that can be exacted from each location. So the first person that has the most of that die type has the choice of which one he wants to do, and the person that has the second number of dice for that specific location can do whatever is left over after the person who had the highest number of dice has chosen. What are those choices? Well, over here in the gold mine, you can, just like normal, take a number of gold nuggets equal to the number of 9s you rolled. Or you can choose to go panning for gold in the river. So this deck of cards has a number of different things in it. For example, you can go panning for gold in the river and hey, look at that. You found a sheriff's star. So you immediately take the sheriff card from somebody, whoever has it. Or you could find 5 gold nuggets. And then of course you would take it away from the mine. You could find money, $2 from the bank. You could find nothing. You could find 2 gold nuggets. You can draw 3 river cards choose one of them, and then place the other two on top of the deck. So you can take that good card and put two really bad cards on top of the deck for whoever pans in the river next. You can take a general store card. So again, these are just, this is an additional thing that you can choose to do if you have the most 9s. If you have the most 10s, you can choose to either steal from the bank as normal, or you can take a number of dollars equal to the number of 10s that you chose, that you rolled rather. Why would you choose not to rob the bank? Well, let's say you rolled a whole bunch of 10s and there's only a few dollars up here in the bank. Now you can choose to come down here. Again, the person who rolled the most 10s gets to choose. The person who rolls the second most 10s gets to do whatever is left over. Moving on to the general store, you can, as normal, take a number of general store cards equal to the number of jacks that you rolled, keep one and return the rest to the discard pile, or you can immediately pay a visit to Doc Bad Luck, choosing a remedy according to your poker hand dice and applying its effects immediately. So you don't have to wait to get nothing to go to Doc Bad Luck, because maybe you want to protect some properties and you want to do it pretty quickly before somebody can have the chance to take them from you. All right, so the choice is take more general store cards or go to Doc Bad Luck. In the saloon, as normal, you can win the favor of the girls working at the saloon and use their charm to steal from an opponent. So as many number of queens that you rolled, you can choose to look at that many cards from an opponent's hand, take one, and then give the remainders back to them. Or you can recruit an outlaw by taking the top card of the outlaw deck. What do these outlaw cards do? Well, if you look here, this has 2 10s on the bottom of it. So basically, while you're rolling your dice at the beginning of the round, you can use this outlaw to automatically turn 2 of your dice into 2 10s. But once you do that, he's flipped over and now there is a reward out for him, and he's placed over here on top of the sheriff. And I'll explain why in just a moment. Okay, so outlaws, recruiting outlaws, can be pretty advantageous for you, especially during the dice rolling segment of the round. Moving on to the sheriff, whoever rolls the most kings has the choice of taking the sheriff card for themselves, making themselves the sheriff, or they can chase outlaws. And chasing outlaws simply means that you take the number of kings that you rolled. Let me just go ahead and use these guys here. Let's say I rolled 3 kings. So I can choose to chase outlaws here instead of just taking the sheriff token for myself. So I would take my dice, I would roll them, and for every match that I get, I will have found, since I rolled a queen, and this outlaw has a queen on her poster, she gets me a reward of $7, and I would take that from the bank. So that's another thing that you can do as if you have won the sheriff. And just like normal, if you choose to chase outlaws, you are giving up the sheriff card for whoever had second place. If nobody has second place, then you keep the sheriff card, or whoever had it keeps it. Moving on to the town hall activity, whoever has the highest poker hand is able to enact the town hall, which means that whoever has the highest poker hand gets to take the bottommost property. With the expansion, however, you can, instead of taking this guy, which you may not want, you can take the top card. That's the choice that you have with the town hall action now. You can either take this card or the top card. But like in the original game, if you roll some aces, you're going to be able to take additional cards. So If you don't roll any aces, maybe this card is better for you than this card. But if you did roll the aces, then of course you're going to probably stick with the original action. Now, another thing that they added to the game was the Native American die. The Native American die is a die that you can get if you choose to donate one of your property cards back to the Native Americans, and if you do that, they will give you this die as something to thank you for being nice to them, so to speak, I guess. With this die, though, it has certain faces. For example, the Shaman's Blessing face, which is this guy right here. You would be able to put one of your dice that you're rolling at the beginning of the round on whatever side that you would like to do. And this die is rolled after we have finished rolling. The ambush side of the die, you would force one opponent to re-roll a die of your choice. This really stinks. A guy used it against me last night in the game that we played, and it took me out of the best poker hand running. The bodyguard side, which looks like this right here. This basically denotes if you roll this face, you place it in front of you, and nothing can be stolen from you during that game round. And then finally, the tomahawk is the warpath side, and this simply means that you would put this on any one location so that actions from that location cannot be taken during this turn. Now, in addition to that, there is a general store card that is called Smoke Signals. Allows you to take the Native American die from the village or from another player. So if you get this card, you would play it at the end of a turn, just after Doc Bad Luck, and if they have taken the die, then you get to take it from them, or you just get to take it from the village itself. All right, so that's all of the changes that Dice Town, the expansion, adds to the game. So what do I think about Dice Town, the expansion? Well, first of all, I do like that it adds so much to the game. I like the fact that it adds a lot of diversity. I like the fact that it adds choices to the game. I like the fact that, for example, the river cards are a nice addition to the game. Sometimes you can, if you rolled only 1 9, 1 gold nugget is, now you have the ability to say, wow, I found 5 gold nuggets in the river, or hey, I'm the sheriff now, that type of thing. That's a cool little, not really push your luck, but it's a luck mechanic. It's a card draw. I like that choice that it delivers. I like the choice of being able to go straight to Doc Bad Luck at the general store instead of crap shooting it and seeing if you get anything good from the general store. You can do something that you tactically want to do during the general store action. I really like the addition of the outlaws to the game. I think that is a very thematic, flavorful change that the base game was lacking. Now, I think the base game was very thematic, but I think this is was a incredibly thematic choice. The ranch property cards, same thing. I think that's a very thematic addition to the game, and I like how it is not just another property card with one number up there. This is now a set collection kind of aspect to the property cards. The Native American die is neat, I think. However, I found it underused in the game that I've played of it so far, so I'm hoping that turns around, that people see the value of the Native American die and donating those properties back to those nations. Another thing that I noticed was that some of the dice, the ace on the die has been changed to, on the new dice that they give you, let's see if I can grab a couple of them here. It's been changed to a spade. And I don't know if that was an oversight or if they wanted to make it a spade as opposed to the club that it was before. So that's a little bit of a difference. The dice themselves, they're all the same quality. There's just that difference. The sixth player could have been left out and I would have been just fine with it. I think Dice Town shines with 4, and especially with the choices at each location, I think that is just further solidified. A 4 is still definitely a sweet spot with Dice Town. I do want to give the expansion 2 thumbs up, even though I had the little negative caveats there with the 6th player being added and the difference in the dice. I think overall this is an expansion that you should definitely go out and pick up. So that is Dice Town, the expansion. See you on the flip side, folks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.